ever fucking come at me about forgiving MAGA ever again. I will not forgive. Ever. I will never forget. Ever. And your protest votes are just as fucking bad. Those who can be reformed and brought back in when this is over can be. But that does not mean forgiveness. There is no forgiveness after this. And those of you who are still clinging, I wish ego death upon every one of you.
Well, what a way to start Behind Enemy Lines with Terry and Mike, huh? So thank you for joining in. We have a great guest, and one of the reasons I wanted to play that is to show some of the evil and hate that's going around in our country. And as I said before, I'm a Republican because they're the lesser of two evils, but there's so much hate and anger from the inclusive left. It's getting overwhelming. I think talking about getting religion back into schools and things that I think help give people a stronger faith, right? To get people to believe in something more than themselves makes us get along better. So that ties into our next guest. I want to read his bio, and then we're going to show that's one side of the spectrum from the crazy, hateful, nasty, evil left, right? And so after I read the bio of our guest, I'm going to show you the other spectrum that shows how ill-informed and crazy they are. And that's part of what we're battling. I don't view it as, right versus left, as good versus evil. There's evil on both sides, especially on the left side. It just happens to be the way I was a Democrat. So I'm going to read about our next guest, which has got a pretty interesting background. So we have Matthew Mark McWhorter. He's on with us today, and I'm going to read his background that led him through his spiritual growth, his own internal spiritual growth. So, as millions of Americans look for ways to deepen their faith in the new year, our next guest brings a perspective you don't hear often, especially from someone with his background. Matthew Mark McWhorter, a retired corporate attorney and once committed atheist, I don't know what's worse, an atheist or attorney. That's a joke. Found himself in a severe health crisis that pushed him into investigate the Christian faith with the same intensity he once brought to the courtroom. That journey led him to study every major Bible translation and the lesser-known writings of many believers have never encountered before. He says these so-called missing books helped him, as an attorney, build a stronger evidence-based case for Christ. Today, Matthew is a Christian author with a depth of scriptural and historical knowledge that is truly uncommon. His book, Canon Crossfire, hit #1 on Amazon over Black Friday. Did you hear that? It's a big deal. Hit #1 on Amazon over Black Friday. He offers a rare opportunity for audiences to explore the early apostolic writings, understand the full historical context of Jesus Christ, rediscover the foundations of the Christian faith through a wider lens. His insight is both intellectual, rigorous, and spiritually compelling. He's here to help us start the new year with a deeper, richer understanding of what we believe. Oh my gosh. So my friends that from the Oaklawn High School alumni, I didn't even read this much in my whole 4 years of high school. That was crazy. So welcome, Matthew.
Sorry, lawyers are wordy, and so are the publicists for lawyers.
Yeah,
so,
no, there's
my bad.
That's great. We look forward to your story. So thank you for spending time with us. So before we do it, I want to show you the other video encounter, right? So we showed the far left evil side that we're fighting, right? And there's another side. I know there's people that are purposely trying to destroy our country on purpose, right? And then there's the others that are just ill-informed, and they're on that side, but they're ill-informed. They might not be evil, right? And purposefully, but it doesn't matter if they work with the masses of the evil folks on that side. The outcome is the same for my kids, your kids, the future of America. And that shows a little bit of what we're fighting here. So, Mike, you want to show that? All right, let's see how peaceful they are. I want to get this. So was it Maduro king?
Maduro?
Yeah. Wasn't he a dictator?
Was he a terrorist?
Yes, drugs, Trent Largo, all the prison gangs that are in Chicago, the Trent Largo prison gangs.
I think they're trying him in New York now, right? So they're going to find out. They're going to bring all of that out.
I'm glad we're having a peaceful conversation. Most people don't want to. I covered at Trent Largo, the prison gangs. They're all over Chicago. Murder, rape, sex trafficking, counterfeit money. They're all over Chicago.
ICE agents, I know.
No, I'm talking about Trent Largo.
Getting their guns out and aiming at people.
Well, they have to. Their lives are in danger.
Well, it's putting our lives in danger.
You're not illegal. You're not illegal.
Very dangerous situation.
You're a law-abiding.
The safety is in jeopardy because we're bringing in a lot of militants with weapons.
You mean from South America?
No, from the federal government.
Oh, but what about the militants that are coming across our borders?
And you're not anywhere near the border.
No, but I'm saying, what are your thoughts about the militants that are coming in from other countries and bringing weapons and drugs into our country?
I think that's baloney. I haven't seen it. And the people that they're arresting are not the type that they're describing them to be.
So I was saying is,
children.
I covered in Chicago. I got into the shelters.
A large part of them have no criminal offenses whatsoever.
They have gang members.
Not even traffic violations.
No, they got gang members all over the place. Matter of fact, a lot of them are driving without driver's license and insurance. They are.
Well, then why do they bother regular people instead of bothering those guys?
Everybody who comes in here illegal doesn't deserve to be here. What do you think about the Somalians up there and what they're doing?
I think we're talking about Minneapolis, right?
Yeah, yes. Now I'm talking about Minneapolis. Yes. I mean, don't you think they need to be held accountable?
They have some issues to work out. A lot of these people are going through the process. You're following the law. You're trying to get citizenship.
That we agree. If that's true, you know what? If that's true, I agree with you. And they won't. If they're doing all that stuff, they're going to be fine.
And maybe there's like a small percentage of people that you're describing.
No, big.
Very few.
So what they're trying
to sensationalize. And I think there's.
Don't you think Cook County Jail should just hand them over to ICE? Cook County Jail when they got the
hand them over. What do you mean handing over?
When they're arrested and they're sitting in Cook County Jail, the jail for committing crimes in America, and they're illegally. Shouldn't they just be given over to the ICE agents so they don't have to track them down in the suburbs?
You're talking about collaboration between the local. Well, currently, there's a law to.
No, I understand that. What I'm saying that's not right because when we arrest a criminal in Chicago, they put him in a criminal illegal. They put him in Cook County Jail, and it makes it safer for everybody in the community to go over there and pick him up, but they won't do that.
Well, Chicago police are doing their duty, following, apprehending this.
But I'm asking you, don't you think it makes sense for us? Because you guys are all here worried about it being protected. Why shouldn't Cook County give over the bad guys to ICE to get rid of them that are in jail for crimes?
Overstaying the visa is a civil offense.
I'm talking about the ones in Cook County Jail.
It's not even a federal crime.
What about Cook County Jail? The ones that commit crimes and they're in jail because they assaulted, beat up, drugged, shot. What do you think about that?
I think it's baloney. What you're describing is a scenario that's been perpetrated by the far right.
Well, you know what? I appreciate a civil conversation with you. I do.
I'm glad we can have a conversation.
Most people here are not like you.
But a lot of this is sensationalized, and it's been spread on the net to describe people who are not very few. Yes, there's some bad apples, and they can.
There's an apple tree. There's an apple tree of big rotten apples. But I appreciate it, buddy.
Like over 80% of the people that are apprehended have no criminal records.
It's not true, honestly. But we have to agree to disagree. I appreciate you. I appreciate talking. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you for watching that, Matthew. So I just like, okay, I'm wasting my time here. The guy was clueless, right? I mean, and I don't view him as a purposeful, evil type man, right? He's just clueless. The other woman, I think, was evil, and those are some of the things, the demons and things that we're facing in our country, and we're losing our country. So that's where we transition to you, Matthew. So why don't you share your journey, your book, whatever. This is open for whatever dialogue you want to have. So I'm going to hand it off to you and maybe give people a little bit of your background and how you did what you did and how you want to explain some of the things in your book.
Yeah, so I'll just start that second guy that you're talking to. How do you reach agreement with people? How do you do things? Well, as a lawyer, may I suggest we instead have a trial process? And in a trial process, the first thing you do is both sides present all the evidence, then you argue. And it's only after the evidence is on the table and what the percentage of people are that were criminals, it's or committed violent crimes or whatever. But like all that data would be on the table.
Yeah.
Then you argue with the guy. That would be more productive, right? I mean, it's not easy to do in the format you were doing it in. I'm not judging your format.
Yeah,
I'm just saying conceptually that's the way to do things, and that is a key part of what my book was. So my grandfather had been Catholic. My mom had gone to Catholic schools, but she absolutely hated the nuns. So by my time, I wasn't taught to pray, didn't read the Bible, didn't go to church, none of that. Just didn't care. 45 years old, I have a massive heart attack and cancer within 30 days of each other. I'm extremely lucky to be alive. And all of a sudden, everyone's asking because it wasn't clear how much longer I had. What's on my bucket list? What am I going to do? And I'm like, well, my name is Matthew Mark. I was named after the Bible. I always wanted to read that. But that was not a spiritual journey at this point. It was I just was named after the books. I was curious what was in there because I didn't really know. And so I go on Amazon and notice the strangeness. I go on Amazon. I didn't go to a church, didn't have some religious person handing me a Bible. I go on Amazon and discover there's just piles of Bibles. The Catholics, Protestants, and Orthodox have completely different Bibles. The Orthodox don't agree on what the Bible should be, what the books of the Bible should be within themselves, nor do the Protestants entirely. So there's just many varieties of books that are included in the Bible. There's different translations. There's different commentaries. I had no idea what to do, so I bought all of them, as you can see, and I started reading them, and I got interested in the Christian story, and I started asking myself, well, is this true? And that led me into, local Chicago in there, Lee Strobel and his book, Case for Christ, etc. So I start down that journey of investigating whether or not Christianity is true, but I'm doing it at the same time that I'm looking at this question of what is the Bible? What is the book, the collection of books that I'm supposed to be judging whether they're true or not, etc. And it was looking at those two questions that put me into this canon crossfire where I'm looking at arguments over the evidence from the earliest church where it's the same piece of evidence, but it's being argued in one case that, well, this shows us that this is what the original apostles taught. And in the other case by Protestants, they were saying, well, that you can't trust that evidence because it points to books outside of the Protestant Bible. And that's the core of my book. Really, my book focuses on, to get back to what I was saying about the evidence, I was reading all these claims, right? Catholics say one thing, Orthodox say something, the Protestants say something.
I got a quick question for you.
Yep.
For me personally, what's the difference between a Protestant and a Catholic? Seriously,
in the Bible, or just as
in
to
general,
individuals?
like in the neighborhood and where
Yeah.
I grew up. We used to, I don't know about you when you grew up, we were like either you're public or Catholic.
Yeah.
Remember that? What public school Catholic? But I really,
where I grew up, that meant you were rich because you could go to private.
Yeah, when you're a Catholic, yes.
Catholic school.
I went to,
we were poor people. We went to the state schools. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. So that was part of my journey, was even learning, Protestant is just a label for many different churches and different groups that, they conflict amongst themselves, disagree amongst themselves, etc. And you have to be careful talking about them because it's just a label for them.
Okay.
So it's a complex topic, and there's 1,000 different answers as to what is supposed to be the true Bible, etc. So again, what I did, I just was hearing all these claims, and I said, well, what is the evidence? Let me go look at the original evidence. So I pulled out 3 things, and this is what my book is showing people. Number 1 was I wanted to know, what do the Jews say about these books that you'll find in a Catholic Bible or an Orthodox Bible, but won't find in a Protestant Bible? I know what Catholics say. I know what Protestants say. What do the Jews say? That was one thing. The second thing is I wanted to know, where does the New Testament maybe reference those books? And so I pulled out from Protestant Bible commentaries and scholarship the hundreds of times that the Protestant scholars will tell you that these books are referenced. And I just give them for people to read for yourself, because that's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to read about them. I wanted to read them. And the third thing was, I just want to know, and it's an easy question. It's a hard answer because you got to do a lot of work to find it. I did the work, but what did every Christian in the first 450 years of Christianity ever say about these books? And that's a limited, that's a closed set, right? It's whatever we have available. Go find it all, assemble it, and then let me read it. I couldn't find it, so I had to go assemble it myself. I show people how I assemble it, and I lay it out. So those are the three sort of pillars of my book. But the point that to get back to what that original clip that you had is, it's now available. Whatever your view is, whatever your side is, you can know what the Jews said, where these books might be referenced in the Bible, and what the earliest Christians said, and then we can debate afterwards. And that's the point of my book, is to get all that stuff on the table for people, because I just find these things escalate out of control when you're talking to somebody and you can't even agree on what the evidence is, what the facts are.
Could you
Then
explain
you're never going to agree on anything
the
else.
title of your book, Canon Crossfire, and how it relates to what you just said to us and why you named it Canon Crossfire?
Yeah. So to give you a specific example that'll bring it to, there's a guy named Irenaeus in the very earliest days of Christianity, who is absolutely crucial to telling us that the apostles taught 4 gospels and only 4 gospels. So he's crucial for excluding all those fake gospels, as Christians would say they are, and say those weren't real. That's just stuff people made up. And he also tells you that the apostles handed him the book of Baruch, which is found in a Catholic Bible but not in a Protestant Bible. So you have the star witness for telling you we have the right 4 gospels, also saying the apostles also gave us this book that Protestants say the apostles didn't hand down. And that's the crossfire. It's realizing that Irenaeus says both those things. So now that I know that, and remember, this is kind of going back in time for me when I was a skeptic looking at this. Now that I know that, would I believe that Christ rose from the dead based on 4 gospels that are authenticated by Irenaeus saying that those are the real gospels, when Irenaeus also tells me about this book of Baruch? If the Protestant admits that Baruch was not authentic, then the testimony of Irenaeus would seem is impeached. And why would I believe Irenaeus about your 4 gospels and not look at these other gospels, etc.? So that's where the canon crossfire comes in. And the point that I'm making is the people who discussing the case for Christ and the people discussing the canon need to get together and realize that this evidence is actually the same evidence, and start talking about it that way, because you'll find people say, well, those Catholic books, they came late. The evidence for them is very late, and it's very little. I pull out all the evidence and show you, just, line it up side by side. It's just as voluminous. It comes at the same time. It's coming from the same people in the same books. At a minimum, Protestants need to have a better story. And that's the crux of what I'm showing with this canon crossfire, is that these 2 stories that were being told are in conflict. And if you were in a real case for Christ, and I start asking you about these books that the Catholics have, a Protestant would start telling the judge why the judge should throw out the case and rule that Christ never rose from the dead, because Irenaeus can't be trusted, right?
So since this book came out and you started working on it, have you been, like, I'm assuming you're doing speaking engagements, and I'm just curious how the very spiritual, the Catholics or Protestants or priests or whatever, how have they received your book?
Nothing but 5-star reviews. I am waiting for the first person to actually read the book and write even a 4-star review. It's just, my book is very simple. It's a review of the evidence. I do give you my views. I don't hide it. But it is walking through people and showing it to them. Again, I was a lawyer. This is how I would walk the jury through the evidence. So the book consists of a lot of what I would call jury exhibits, a lot of charts and graphs and things to make it easy on people and show it to you. For these possible references in the Bible, I give you what the possible reference is in the New Testament, and then I give you the language from these books that are in the Catholic Deuterocanon that you wouldn't find in all Protestant Bibles. It's just there for you to read. And then when I'm quoting the ancient fathers, as they're called, the earliest Christians in the first 450 years of Christianity, I do the same thing. I show you what they're talking about, and I show you what they said. You read it, make up your own mind. But the point is that it's all there. I show people how I found it, how I know that it's all the evidence there is, because there are these databases and things you can search. I show you where to go online and find it. It's just me showing anybody else, look, I did all this work to find out the answers to this. If you want to know the answers, you can basically watch me do it, and go from there and correct everything that I did if you think I did anything wrong or whatever. But it's just laying it out there for people, and so far everybody's loved it.
So you're basically a research analyst,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And,
Right.
and again, that was kind of my job, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's sort of
what kind of
setting
attorney,
that out for people.
what kind of attorney were you, Matthew?
So I was a corporate attorney for big law firms and ultimately for big oil companies, and then
Oh,
retired in
oil companies are
2000.
evil. You no wonder you're
Exactly.
atheist.
Go big oil. No.
Yeah. Yeah, we need them right now.
Yeah, no, so it's always funny. I would get yelled at by people for working at oil companies, and I was working in Houston, Texas, and I was like, "Well, I took the bus to work. What did you drive to work?"
Yeah,
Like they're lecturing me while they're consuming far more oil than I am. Like,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry I produced your product for you. My bad.
These are the same people that can't even describe a woman or try to tell our
Oh,
children that men can have babies. So who
Yeah,
cares what they
exactly.
think?
Well, yeah, if they
Yeah.
were really going to give up oil and all that, they wouldn't be using their fancy iPhones, wearing their plastic shoes or anything else. Most of them don't understand how
They don't even
intricate
know what
oil is.
they don't even know what a windmill is made out of or what solar panels are made out of.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
No, they're just totally. I mean, that's one of the issues that we have right now. Not to take it back to politics, is we have one side of the aisle that's just totally detached from reality. They have these fantasies, they make them up, and then they present this as truth. Whether you're
And I'm
talking with the green movement,
Yeah. I'm 10 years out of date, so I can't speak for today, but I can tell you 10 years ago, if I met a sophisticated leader within an environmental organization, he and I would agree within 30 minutes of meeting one another. Like,
yeah,
we're
exactly.
working at an oil company, and at an oil company, we made plastics and chemicals and stuff from this oil. The dumbest thing you can do with this magical substance coming out of the ground is burn it. Like, it's okay, find a different oil, find a different fuel source, but this stuff is magic. It makes all these chemicals, plastics, everything makes the world go round. And the environmental guy would tell you, because people will say, well, we could just make that stuff from trees. Not without cutting down every tree on the planet Earth.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, I know.
it's a massive consumption problem that we have in our society.
Yes.
So there I am riding the bus and doing all these things. The guys who work at oil companies usually conserve oil. And yet you're dealing with all, like you said, just this level of cluelessness of like, I'm going to consume as much oil as I can while decrying and calling anybody who produces it evil.
Hypocrisy.
Anyway.
Yeah.
You're getting me
Yeah.
mad.
I agree with
Yeah.
you. Like, on like a little political sidebar is that I believe that there, with this global warming and all this stuff, I believe the truth is somewhere in between instead of like one side or the other. And the way I explain, and I said this forever, and I'd love, especially with I know we're digressing here, but the way I explain to people is like we have to be affecting the earth. I don't know what extent. I know that there's cycles and all that crap, but I graduated high school in 1979, Oakland High School alumni. And I remember they were scaring the hell out of us that we're going into an ice age, right? The scientists, the scientific evidence. And then as things moved along and that ice age didn't come, then they said global warming, right? And you get all scared about that and the water rising and stuff. Well, when that didn't turn out, they said climate change. The same three sets of scientists. But, so that I question everything they say just because of that. Now, with that said, this goes into my oil question. Is that, platonics and stuff and how everything shifts and changes and how Africa was part of South America, remember all that stuff? And I'm assuming we're sucking so much oil, and what replaces the oil is like salt water or whatever. That is affecting the viscosity of these continents moving, right? You know what I mean? It's like the oil probably has something to do with how the continents move on platonics. And how is that? Because we're sucking all the oil out. We're replacing the oil with water, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I don't think it's nearly enough to affect plate tectonics in general, but
You don't think so?
whether it
That's
causes
what I
like
was
local
thinking.
earthquakes and stuff like that has always
Yeah.
been debated, et cetera.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in the same boat as you are. Like, I don't think it's any good to put this stuff in the atmosphere
Yes.
and burn it and do it. Like, that can't be good. I don't know. I'm not saying that's a positive thing, but I don't believe any of these dire predictions, et cetera. Like,
Yeah.
I've lived too long to buy
Yeah.
into any of it. And it's kind of the same. People, whenever there's a green energy moment in our society, like, do you realize how many green energy moments I've lived through in my life? And here
Right.
we are. Like,
Right. Right.
Yeah, to
Right.
kind of put a bow on this and wrap it up, that is addressing an underlying problem, and that's dishonesty about the facts. Most of these people pushing for the green, none of us want dirty air and water. And if we had a viable alternative to oil and fossil fuels that wasn't astronomically expensive, I'm sure most people would be willing to embrace that. But for the most people in the green movement, it's not really about protecting the planet or protecting the environment. Some of them might believe it is, but it's really about global communism. It's about control over people. It's the same agenda that we've seen pushed and repackaged for decades through everybody at the UN, a lot of these globalists, and a lot of people here. It's the useful idiots. It's the ones on the ground that don't understand what they're really pushing for that help to perpetrate this evil on humanity. If there was a viable alternative and it wasn't, pixie dust and unicorn farts, then I'd be more than happy to move over to something else. But until we have a portable form of energy that can get you back and forth to work, can drive our economy, can push the trains, can push the buses and everything else, we just don't have it. And even with electric vehicles, we don't have the grid or the infrastructure for it for now. At the end of the day, the most
And where's the electricity come from?
Exactly. And if you don't want to pursue nuclear, the founder of Greenpeace is a great example. And he got thrown out of his own organization, and he's still against nuclear weapons. But once he was kind of shown the light on nuclear energy, he wanted to back that, and his own movement threw him out. But he started to understand, like, this is way more efficient than anything else we have, that most people don't understand. A nuclear plant produces a very small amount of waste. You could actually hide it under a desk in an entire year. And it's not like a nuclear warhead. It's not nearly as radioactive as most people think it is. It's not something you'd want to sleep with under your pillow, but it's not nearly as dangerous as people are led to believe. But instead, because of this false information, we go down a path that has ultimately, cost all of us, made a lot of money for oil companies, and kept us from a much less expensive energy future that we could have had if we would have stayed on track building nuclear reactors and other plants here and around the world. France used to get 80% of their power from nuclear energy, but because of pressure from the green movement, they've been shutting down plants. They're now turning them back on because of what's going on in Ukraine and fear of what could happen from there. But at the end of the day, we've got to all live in reality. And we've got to all be able to agree on the facts, and then that way we will make the correct decisions.
Yep. So I have two questions online here for Matthew, and then one we could talk offline because it's more complicated for me personally. So when you were doing your research for your book, right? What in your view, what was the most surprising thing as you did your research that stood out that might have caught you off guard or interesting? What was the most surprising, interesting thing that you found from your research?
There were quite a few of them because I really don't think that anybody addressed this question by making this Canyon Crossfire comparison and then by going and researching all this evidence. I looked all over the state of Ohio, as well as online, etc. I asked everybody I knew, trying to find books that would tell me the answers to some of these questions, and I couldn't find them. I wanted to see all of it, so I go out and just to pick one. There's a book in the Catholic Bible called 2 Maccabees that is not in Protestant Bibles. It includes a story about a woman who watches all 7 of her sons be martyred, tortured, and killed before her, but they.
Oh no!
Uh-oh, I guess they don't want that secret getting out.
Yeah, we're there.
All right, you're back.
We're back. Thank God.
That glitch. Okay.
Thank God. Oh my God! I just said thank God.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. You're banned from schools forever. So 2 Maccabees is this book in the Catholic Bible. You won't find it in most Protestant Bibles. It has a story about the woman with 7 sons. She watches all of her 7 sons be tortured and killed, but none of them give up the faith. And it's set in the time of the Maccabees, which is pre-Christ, hundreds of years before Christ. And as I say, is part of this Catholic Bible, but you won't find it in Protestant Bibles. And or in most Protestant Bibles. And why that's not in the Protestant Bible, the Protestants will say, well, we go with a list of books that we consider to be the authentic Jewish canon, going backwards in time to Christ. We find this list in the Talmud, which comes after Christ, but we think that it goes back to Christ and shows us what the real books were at the time of Christ. And in that Talmud, in that list, you won't find 2 Maccabees. And that's true, it's not there. But what you will also find in the Talmud is a stolen, plagiarized version of the story from 2 Maccabees of the woman with 7 sons. The rabbis take that story, plagiarize it, and give the Jews a fake, newer version set in the Roman Empire for them to believe. And you'll find this in Jewish scholarship. That's where I went out. I was trying to find out what the Jews had to say about these books. That's where I found it. I never found that that this thing had been plagiarized and copied. I didn't find it in Protestant books. I didn't find it in Catholic books. No one seems to realize that this occurred and then think about what that means with respect to what was the canon at the time of Christ. So if you go back, as I say, I looked at the Bible. Where in the New Testament does it reference these books? Well, we'll find references in the epistles to the Hebrews that there are references to this woman with 7 sons in 2 Maccabees. And then in the Gospel to the Jews, which is what the book of Matthew really was, you'll find Jesus himself referencing this story of the woman with 7 sons. So the evidence that the Jews and the earliest Christians and Jesus and the apostles all considered 2 Maccabees to be scripture comes, from these references in the Epistle of the Hebrews, the Gospel of the Jews, and from Jesus. Whereas the evidence that people will cite and say, well, no, that's not true, that really wasn't part of it, comes from the Talmud, which has this fake version of the story in it. And like I said, I've never heard anybody else, I've never met anyone else who even knows what I'm talking about when I'm trying to tell them this.
Yeah, like me.
You'll find it in Jewish scholarship. I'm not making this up. It's easy to go find it. It's just that people didn't pull these things together and say, what is that? And, how does that fit the Protestant story, et cetera? I'm not telling you that I'm disagreeing with the Protestant story. I'm telling you, I couldn't find the Protestant story about what the deal is with that. I'm curious what they have to say.
Yeah.
It's just an example of, like, I don't think people really did it. I did it. I handed it out there for everybody to look at, and now we can all start with the evidence. But, kind of like the discussion you had with that fellow on the streets. But, like, if I were to argue with Protestants and they don't know that that's coming, imagine me dropping that on their head in the midst of this case or this trial. Like, it's going to go very badly if you don't know what all the evidence is. I show you what all the evidence is, and now at least you can get your story straight before you show up.
Yeah. So my other quick question here is, with your book being, selling very well, who seems to be the most type of people that are calling you and saying, "Hey, Matthew, I'd like you to speak"? Catholics, Protestants, whatever. Like, I'm just curious.
I wrote my book for Protestants. So I did end up Catholic, but I had read all of this Protestant scholarship, etc. And as I say, like with this example of 2 Maccabees, I have no idea what the Protestant answer is to this question. Of why we should still, they would say you should still reject 2 Maccabees given what happened there in the Talmud. I just don't know what the answer is. So I wrote the book directed at Protestants. I used Protestant editors, proofreaders, audiobook readers, publicists, marketers. I focused on Protestants to get the book out. I do work with Catholics as well. I sell it to them, but I focused on the Protestant market. So the bulk of my interviews have actually been with Protestants. My readership, as I say, nothing but 5 stars, including for Protestants.
That's great.
It's just directed in that fashion, and that's the message that I'm trying to get out there. I tell every Catholic, you'll love my book because I'm showing that you're right, but that's not really what I wrote the book for. Yeah. It's to show Protestants, hey, guys, you got a problem here. And try to see where that goes.
Just so you know, I'm clueless. When you say McAfee, I think about IT security software. But anyway, so my last question, I don't want you to answer it now because it'll take forever. And this is not just for you. This goes for Jim Coughlin, my Catholic buddy, and my friend Don Kraus, very Catholic grandpas, right? Love the spiritual. No, I don't know if Don's a Catholic. I'm not sure. And, I was raised a Catholic as an altar boy. My kids went to Catholic school. And I am not an atheist, but I went to college, which was a theology school, which I didn't know. I went at 37. And there's things I have, I have some challenges with it, and we'll talk offline, right? With my spiritual side. I always goof around and say, I'm a Catholic. I'm not a good Catholic. I'm a bad Catholic, which means I'm a normal Catholic because I could sin on Saturday, get confession on Sunday, and start all over on Monday. And that's
recharge your battery.
Yeah, right. And when when I was at Elmhurst as an adult, and they're talking about, and again, you don't need to answer this because it'll take forever, and I'm still trying to. I'm struggling with this. God is all knowing, caring, and loving. God is all knowing, caring, and loving. I don't know if I was God and I was all knowing, caring, and loving, I would figure out how to get my message across to the world and not hold young, innocent babies accountable for Adam and Eve and whatever happened. And babies are born without arms, 8 legs, step on a landmine, innocent children. And again, I know you probably want to answer that. I don't want, I just, we'll talk offline. And I know I'm going to hear from Jim and Don on this too. But that's a challenge, and I would love to address it because, again, I'm not an atheist, but at the same time, I'm struggling with that internally, and we'll talk about that later.
I'll just say my own brother's handicapped, so we face that in our own family of wondering those things, right?
Yeah.
It's not easy.
So I really appreciate you coming on, and I wish you the best with the book. And Mike, Matthew, where can we get the book? On Amazon?
Yeah. Amazon, canoncrossfire.com is my website. So that's Canon of Scripture, CANON. So just one N in the middle. Canoncrossfire.com will send you to wherever the book is cheapest. I donate all proceeds. So it's not really a money-making opportunity. There's audiobooks. There's large print versions for all my friends that can't read and don't want to read and want to listen in the car, etc. So
God, that's for the Democrats. Yeah.
Well, and as we learned earlier, not only can they get your book there, they can also get all your research material it took to write the book.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the stuff Well, thank you very much, Matthew. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you, and God bless you as well.
Bye-bye. All right, so now we're going to pivot to something. Hey, what the hell is that over there? Oh, my God, it's Mickey Skornovaco, another Dago Freedom Charlie Kirk t-shirt. Thank you.
I love Charlie Kirk. I love freedom. I love America. And God. So, recently, I love these Antioch Democrats. They've got an amazing website that was put together.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, it's a great thing. I never thought I'd be promoting that.
My fellow Dago. So first,
oh my goodness.
Yes. So before we talk about, I wanted to do 2 shout outs, right? One is to my buddy, Jesus, I got a brain fart. Tony Ocean, Tony Ocean Show. I'm just looking at my wrong notes. Tony Ocean Show. Tony Ocean sang at my wedding. Tony Ocean, I actually love the guy, and I got him at my big corporation Christmas party. I had him sing at the Christmas party. I was on his show on Friday. So for those of you that are on Facebook, you got to go to Tony Ocean's Facebook page. And then the other person, Pete Santilli, that's where I was thrown off. I was trying to remember my both Dago buddies, 3 Dago buddies. Pete Santilli, I did an interview with him, and Mike's going to download that for me later. I did an interview with Pete Santilli last night, and want you guys to check that out. Pete Santilli's on, it's LFA, right, Mike?
Yeah, LFA TV.
Yeah, so I just want to do that shout out before we transition to my other Italian buddy, and Mickey he's a Republican, right? He threw a great event up in Antioch, and he could talk about that a little bit. And the only thing I was disappointed, because he's from Cicero, and I'm up there way up north. It's so far north, I was getting nosebleeds, and like all those people up north in Antioch he doesn't have an Italian accent anymore. It's like I felt alone in the sea of people up north in Antioch, and Mickey Skornovaco. I'm Terry Newsom. I sound more like a Skornovaco, and he sounds like a Terry Newsom. We got to get his accent back. So, Mickey, we're going to hand the stage over to you and tell us about this fun, exciting thing that you did that gives a little laughter in the hearts of people that are Republicans in the state of Illinois, because we suck at everything, we lose at everything, and we have a little bit of fun and revenge that Mickey's going to share.
Yeah, so Santa Claus came late for me on January 11th, actually. I was doing some other work, and I happened to come across an available website. And I couldn't believe it was available, because we actually have an organization here in Antioch, Illinois, called the Antioch Democrats. And lo and behold, AntiochDemocrats.com was available for the low price of 50 cents. How these people, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's worth way more than 50 cents now. The price went way up, guys. You want to buy this back from me? It's $1 million right now. So I looked across and I saw it, and I said, God, it would be wrong It would be a shame. It would be a travesty not to do something with this. So what we did is we created a lot of different things. We put some stuff about me, some awful stuff that's funny and really true, actually. We've got the games are amazing. I don't know, Mike, did you kind of go through this a little bit?
Oh yeah, no, this whole thing is brilliant. Even the way you have the write-ups on here are just great. A Democrat's Guide to Understanding the Local Republican Threat. The first rule of war is to know your enemy. The second rule is to get really upset about them on social media. Sun Tzu, probably.
Listen, Mickey is a very creative guy, man. He wrote books and he'll talk about it. And he does have like this creative flair that you think the guys from the other side of the aisle in high school have. And he's very creative and very funny. He doesn't look like a comedian, but he is.
Yeah, I'm more than brawn and good looks, Terry. I got a little bit of this too. But yeah, on that website, and I don't know, Mike, if you want to jump in, there's a couple of my favorite things here that I really enjoyed writing. And the first one was the Trump doll. And that's show me on the doll where Trump hurt me. And if you look on there, you'll find the doll. And Mike, if you click on the doll's head, and then it tells you, it gives you your official diagnosis of how Trump hurt you.
Mickey, what sex is the doll? What sex is the doll? What sex?
It's an it them, I believe. I believe it's an it them. Definitely an it them. But you know what, Terry? I'm glad you brought that up because there's another function on the site. Mike, if you'll go back to the game section for me. If you don't know what you are, we have our pronoun generator right there, right next to the Trump doll. And there you can select which level you want to use, and you can use campus, HR, whatever situation you are. And if you click one of those,
let's go to HR.
And then you go down and you click your generate identity button, and boom, it'll tell you exactly what your pronouns are. And now you're ready to fill out your Facebook profile, your LinkedIn profile, or the job application, just in case you weren't aware. We've got some other neat features on the site. Mike, if you go back to the game section there.
He's a campus guy. I wanted to see Mike.
Yeah. You know what? Go back, check it out. Try the campus one.
Let's do this. All right, here we got campus admin. They, them, their pronouns. Title: Associate Provost of Inclusive Excellence. Trigger warning: Policy enforced. Microaggression reporting portal. hr.edu/report as your email signature. And today's mandatory apology: I apologize for any harm caused by the way this was communicated. This is brilliant, man.
There's so much more. This keeps on giving. You could spend literally a couple hours on this site and not get bored. One of my favorite things on this, and we're going to go through two more of these. There's not a lot of time tonight to go through all, but if you want to click on the protest sign generator, because a lot of these folks are on a budget, and maybe mom didn't give their allowance yet. So you could just click there. Now I made it real simple because these are the simplest people that are going to need this, and just select, you're very dumb, and it'll generate the nice protest sign. You can actually add a chant to it. You can make it rhyme. And when you're all done, you can generate a PNG image of it, print it out, stick it on your sign, and go stand out in the street like an idiot. It is the perfect gift for people who just don't have a job.
Dude, we got to get like 100 people to use this and then show up the next time they're protesting in front of the ICE facility there.
Absolutely. Mike, there's one more feature I want to show everybody in the games. And this is my favorite part of it. And it's our hurt feelings report. And I got a feeling after most of the Democrats here in Antioch fill this out, they're going to have to go ahead and get on this so they can report their hurt feelings. And, if you just want to fill in your name there, it's pretty simple. Up at the top.
Joe Severino.
Yeah. And then, you can put, let's do it. Let's put in Joe Severino. And then right there, and what happened, I'll write it for him. Terry Newsom ruined my election chances.
How about his life?
All right, very good. And then after you do that,
he's
we can
very offended.
You can go and you can select where it happened at, how it made you feel, all that other fun stuff. Just click any one of them.
Go to series randomly.
Yeah, you could do it randomly or put some thought in it. Most Democrats just do it randomly, so you're doing it right.
Because they can't.
Yeah.
There you go, Mr. Smart Guy. Funny.
We'll put him in a Whole
All right, and then
Foods.
file your report, and it goes to President Trump, who says, "Fuck your feelings."
That is awesome.
So some of the other features of the site that we're going to go through, let's click on the Know Thy Enemy one there, Mike, right down there a little bit further. So we wanted to warn everybody with this site about the local Republicans here in Antioch, Illinois, and what they're up to and into. And Mike, you're a little more eloquently of a reader than me, so if you want to read through that.
Sure. Residents of Antioch are advised to exercise extreme emotional caution following reports that a group known as the Antioch Republicans is actively operating a website filled with facts, common sense, and unapologetic patriotism. Yes, in public, on the internet. What makes them so dangerous? Believing America is a good country, thinking the Constitution still matters, asking questions before passing laws, using math when discussing budgets, expecting adults to act like adults, and supporting law and order without footnotes. Experts warn this level of rational thinking can be deeply triggering.
So Mickey put some thought to this, definitely.
Dude, this is good. This is amazing. We got to get this out to more people.
Absolutely. And there's one more villain on this website that I really want you guys to meet. And if you go down a little more, I think it is. Actually, you know what? It's up. It's nope. There it is, right there. Go down a little bit. God, I did this so much. I should have this memorized already. Down a little more there, Mike. And right there, meet the guy. Yeah. Now, this guy's really evil. I don't know if you recognize him or not, but he is a problematic author, and they've put an alert out on me. They want to warn everybody about my horrible, horrible Republican books. They're absolutely terrible. They inspire free thinking, patriotism. They talk about parents actually raising their kids instead of Twitter, and there's all kinds of things. And if you roll down through the page there, now the fun thing about this, and the fun part about this, is everything that's in this page here has actually been said about me by the Antioch Democrats. There are blogs full of this stuff. Well, I figured I would help them out and really put it out there. And they want everybody to know over at AntiochDemocrats.com, whatever you do, and if you go down, don't click these Amazon links, and please don't buy these books from this horrible man.
It's very great. It's awesome, man. It's awesome.
Dude.
It's creative.
Yeah,
Hey,
you did a amazing job with this. Sorry, Terry, go ahead.
Yeah, so Mick, we're I forgot when and where we were up in Antioch with my brother's event, but we're gonna plan a big event. I'm waiting. My brother, I reached out to him today. We're together gonna plan a big event up in your neck of woods. What was the name of the bar? Dockers or something like that?
So where we were last summer, and that was for our annual, or it was in the beginning of the summer. That was for our kickoff party. And that was at a wonderful place that we like to call home, called Captain's Quarters here in Antioch, Illinois.
Yeah.
It's right on Fox Lake. It's a beautiful place. They have live music all summer. It's an open air venue with booze and food and
Is that where I
good
was?
times and people just like us. You will not find a liberal Democrat in the house. It's amazing. We got boats, booze, and great times there. It's Captain's Quarters in Antioch. It's amazing. I like to call it home. As a matter of fact, while I'm on here, I'd like to say hi to Mel and Larry from there. Great guys. Jody and Hope are some of my favorite bartenders. They're amazing people. If you haven't been to Captain's Quarters, Mike, you got to come out this summer. I'll drive you over there on my boat myself.
Is that where
Terry, you've been there.
where was my brother's band at? Was that Captain Quarters?
That was at Captain's Quarters, yeah.
Yeah. So what was that? August or July? I don't remember.
No, that was in the beginning of the season. That was in May.
Track.
Yeah, we do the end of the season party, which is another one we really do at Captain's Quarters. Larry gives me the venue at no charge whatsoever. We typically have between 300 and 500 people show up, and we raise money for organizations like Operation Wild Horse, Honor Flight, Veterans Path to Hope. We raise a few $1,000s that day for them. All the money goes to veterans, so it's a pretty phenomenal organization. My organization is the Chain of Lakes Patriots, and we throw that party. And Larry, we couldn't do it without him.
Yeah, so this year, so when my brother's band, The Remedy, my brother Jim Newsom and Eileen's the singer, my brother's the drummer, and they happen to play up there, which is like kind of crazy.
Yeah.
This big pavilion. So what we're gonna do is we're just wait. I reached out to my brother before the show, Mick, to find out. He's still waiting for them to give a date. I told them, hey, when they call you back, tell them your brother's friends with Mickey. We're gonna have a big event up there. Plus, whenever this date is and my brother's band's playing, we're gonna get the pavilion, and everybody's gonna be through their primaries by then. So we're gonna make a big Republican party event under the pavilion and stuff for all of us. We're going to bring people from the south up to the north and come together and make it a big patriotic event. And my brother's band, The Remedy, will be playing.
I will be there for sure.
Yeah. Yes.
Speaking of events, Terry, I want to thank you for coming out last Tuesday on January 6th. I know above all people, you have a lot going on January 6th. You made the time to come out for us. That was a big deal. I thought it was a great event. I had a blast. I know you had a blast.
Yeah, it was good.
But thank you so much for coming out. Sheriff Mendrick, if you're watching, thank you for coming out. I appreciate you. Andy Williams, thank you. And Roman Butchberger, thank you as well.
Yeah, no, it was a good event. It's great to see so many people coming together because it's really hard, and you get credit for bringing so many people. It's hard to get Republicans out, unlike the left, which is,
I tell you, it wasn't that hard to get Republicans out because they know when I'm throwing a party, they're going to have a good time. We got music. We have good times. It's not a bunch of stale people sitting around with their name badges on and being boring. We had loud music. Actually, we had some complaints about the music, so I knew I was doing it right. It's too loud. Turn it down. No, we're going to turn it up. This is a Kid Rock concert. It's not a funeral. We're going to have a great time there, and that's right. What we do at all our events, and that's why people actually show up. We're trying to change the way that
we need to
that the Republican role works here.
Throughout the whole state, we need to do that. So before we all sign off here, Mike's got a couple funny videos, so you hang on here because we're talking about all the crazy shit going on with what's going on in Minnesota and stuff. So we're making fun of these radical leftists. Mike's got a couple good little clips he wants to show. So don't leave us, Mick.
I got one for you guys. The other one is not playing correctly, but as a lot of people have been complaining about South Park since they're on Paramount Plus now, have been mocking Trump. But I don't know, maybe they've realized they actually want to have an audience again because the ratings have just been falling further and further and further. It's not funny, but they might be back because they're now punching the Democrats, and this is hilarious.
You should get in your car and drive at them. What are they going to do? You're a white lesbian. Seriously.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Of course it's a good idea, you stupid bitch. Now get in your car, don't listen to any of their directions, and try to run them over. Stop the fucking car! She's coming right for us! Oh my god! She did it! She actually did it! What a retard! I told you guys they're all retards! Yeah!
Oh, it's perfect.
Yes.
South Park will always be one of my favorite shows.
Well, I hope they're back on it because, they've really lost it this season. They've been going after Trump and Vance, and it's just not funny. I got to respect it. And they've gone after Republicans before where at least it had some humor. It had a point. But I guess it's, they're getting $10 million an episode from Paramount for a half an hour TV show.
So that's incredible. So before we sign off, guys, I'm so fortunate to have the next guest we're going to have on Thursday, which is a big deal for me personally, but for all of us, what's going on in Venezuela. We are going to have the interim DEA drug czar, Victor Avial, will be on the show. And he worked with Tom Homan, Sarah Carter. He works for Sarah Carter. Sarah's going through the approval process with Senate and Congress. He knows my background. You guys, most people know my background. He knows my background, which is kind of ironic for me to have him on here. And I changed my life 35 years ago, and we're going to have a very cool. I mean, his availability popped up. We had to move our schedule. So Victor will be on our show. He confirmed Thursday. He's basically the temporary DEA czar for North America right now. And then we moved the other guy named Ian Trotter. He wrote the book High Stakes Treason. He wrote the book about Brennan, that piece of shit. John Brennan. And he's going to be on Tuesday. So we got two big name, awesome fucking guests coming on between Thursday and next Tuesday. So if you're available, please make sure you watch us. And go ahead, Mike. Why don't you, Mickey, you want to say anything before Mike closes it out, buddy?
At this point, my face is hurting from smiling. God bless America. Everybody go to the website. Check it out. It's www.antiochdemocrats.com. That's ANTIOCH, the word Democrats.com. I promise you, you will laugh your ass off. It will be the best scroll you've had all day.
And share
It's
it.
pure brilliance. Great job with that, Mickey. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that anybody could have done better than that. And then Victor, too. Some of you guys might remember Victor Orvela. He's the one who's lost his partner, was killed by the guns that Barack Obama brought over the border for Operation Fast and Furious. So that's where Victor first came to everybody's attention. But great guy. Glad we'll have him on.
Yeah, he's going to get his revenge now with his new role. We're going to hear. It's going to be very interesting. So thank you very much, everybody. Go ahead, Mike. Do your formal closeout.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us. Please like, share, and subscribe. Help us to grow so we can bring more people the news the mainstream media doesn't want you to hear. We'll be back on Thursday.